Okay, so I'm recording this on the floor in the middle of my room, like this is so silly. Oh, stars! Maybe I'm not a veteran, but I've been actively monitoring the comments on the news posts, and sometimes speaking in at the Discord server. And the community always seemed so chill. It's not enough to say that there were little fights or harassment, but the general mood was always calm and appreciative even. So, seeing the reactions for the new updates really meant stuff went down a wrong path. Okay, I won't be going in detail over the HTML part of the update, maybe in a different video, but yeah, the update was a big and awaited one. It isn't only a great update for the code freaks, because in general BB code could act hella buggy while editing your text, like it's shrinking out of nowhere. Such issues are now gone. Yay! Also, the editor got a new look, pretty fancy, not gonna lie, and apart from looking modern, it has some new features to edit your text, and you can more easily edit links and images with it, finally. The other interesting thing shared in the news post is the concept for the new tagging system that is going to reinforce the filtering system. Personally, I would like to see it go this way. And then we have the second part for rule changes and clarifications. This is what pissed people off. So let's get down to the drama. Just to clarify, this video isn't going to be completely objective, but I do encourage you to share your own perspective in the comments, as long as you're not throwing out names on anyone. First, the rule. Bases, character creators, and doll makers may be used for character images, but must be credited. They may not be used for attacks. And then at B, we have this includes artwork traits from posable 3D models, such as CLIPSTUDIO Paint, Design Doll, and similar programs. Also, self-made bases and photographs you have taken. Okay, I feel like I need to explain what is considered tracing and its types, so we can move on with it. When it comes to the categorization, be aware I just made it up, it's like my own categorization, it's nothing official. Tracing is taking an image and drawing over it. Now tracing can be either line to line, most of the time tracing the outline of the image, or it can be used to just sketch the guidelines, shape of the image itself, or be altered significantly when the thing you're practically tracing is a so-called 3D sketch. The third thing being a slightly more modern classification. So stuff gets a bit confusing, because if you're a more older artist and participated in artist spaces in the past, tracing always had a bad name, as it rather addressed the first category, when someone would take most of the time to somebody else's 2D art and trace over it one-to-one or with small changes, and then say it's their own work. So I think all of us can agree that this is still disrespectful and shouldn't be allowed on ArtFight either. In current times though, it has become really popular to use 3D tools. Some paid programs like CLIPSTUDIO Paint gave the artists 3D models that were made specifically for posing and also tracing some guidelines or even sketches over them. Because you might be surprised, but such practices are also used in professional settings. Even when you got skills, such models can help with perspective and composition. Professionals use it to speed up their work and make the job a bit easier. I'm not saying that you artists I will show you work professionally, because I'm not sure, but they are extremely skilled people, and guess what? They used 3D models sometime. Neytirix. You can see her making a 3D layout for a background herself. What she does here, she later even calls a 3D sketch. Then she traces over the shapes to add color and details, like you would do with a basic 2D sketch. I love this piece by her, by the way, cause cut. Next is Emilyena. She, on the other hand, uses the 3D human model for drawing her portrait. Yes, she creates other thumbnail versions, purely by her own, because I doubt someone of her skills needs to trace 3D models often anyway. But she did trace one of the poses, because I believe it had a difficult angle. She even chooses the practically traced sketch to go with for finishing the piece, which ends up looking... Whoa, okay, what went? Outstanding. And of course you don't need to have stellar skills to use these tools, because that's what they are, tools. Beginners especially can learn something by using these, or at least have it easier to draw certain complicated things. I thought the site wanted to be beginner-friendly. I read some comments that the 3D models can be a big help for people with health issues too, because it reduces their sketching time, which prolonged can strain their bodies and cause pain. And listen, let's breathe in for a moment. If you're still frowning about this. I used to be against this too, saying that it's still cheating, and people should look to get better. I got off my high horse though. And I think more people need to realize that ArtFight is, or at least was meant to be, this fun, light-hearted event. It isn't an art contest, not a course or homework that you need to better your skills for. It's a free art gifting game. So putting up rules that discourage certain groups like beginners or people with health issues is pretty elitist and ableist, in my and many others' opinion. Of course, if you do want to improve, I do believe that only tracing isn't enough. I would recommend tracing, learning the shapes, because yes, the tracing part absolutely needs to be here, but then you look at that trace and dereference and try drawing it on your own. This is how you build the skill itself. Okay, whatever your stance on this is, let's mention the elephant in the room about this ban too. How is this even going to be checked? Seriously. Because now you cannot say whether the person traced over something or just precisely referenced it while having it to the side, or not even at all. What? Weird anatomy with inconsistent style? No, you might go after an innocent beginner. Too good anatomy and shapes? Maybe they just referenced it and are just good. So nah, it cannot be checked, and all I see with this rule is pity reports dooming innocent people. I think ArtFight should let people trace over your own photos and 3D models that are assets for this very thing, and ones made by yourself too, cause mind you, that takes skill and time. Let's loosen up a bit, jeez. DNI stands for Do Not Interact, and is put on a user's profile to fend off a selected group from interacting with them. A DNI can specify any group of people really. For example, minors, DNI. So minors do not interact. Before, ArtFight disallowed all DNIs, only with exception for minors DNI and adults DNI. These two DNIs make the most sense for me, because if you're an adult, you might not want to have a younger audience picking at your stuff or talking with you, and same vice versa. Now ArtFight decided to allow all DNIs. Here is their full stance on it. Most DNIs are now permitted on site. The only DNIs we will continue to remove are ones that violate other rules, callouts, harassment of other users. That said, we will also not be enforcing DNIs for users. If someone violates your DNI, please block them. People are worried that the game will lose its fun, because each time you find a cool character, now you will have to check if they belong to a person with a huge DNI list that maybe you are on. And if yes, then the fun is over. You cannot draw that character. Apart from that, a situation where someone draws an art for you without knowing you are on their DNI list, because yes, that can happen. If you don't put all your beliefs and interests on your profile, how can one know? And yeah, if that happens, then it's on you to decide if, damn, I fall under their DNI, so shucks, I cannot revenge them or even comment on their attack. Or should I stay undercover and interact with them, but that's gonna make me feel bad or even uncomfortable. Sadly, we also have a big gray zone here too, because not every venomous and toxic statement falls under the harassment rules. DNIs like "if you watch this show" or "insert political view here" don't have to be considered harassment really, but can still create a pretty aggressive and bitter environment. And this is what people are worried about too. Does it really have a place in an annual event about gifting art? And for one, we could just leave our opinions aside and just draw cool stuff for each other. Now, that's what I read from others. If I could be honest with you, I kinda don't care about DNIs being allowed now. For the people that are worried, some DNIs can be straight up hateful, like if your art sucks, or if you are this race or this nationality. I'm pretty sure these go under the harassment rules, so such statements are a bannable offense in the first place. And it's not like people need DNIs to say stupid shit like this. I've seen such statements myself before this change. Going back, I just don't care cause I was doing profile vibe checks anyway before, so it doesn't really change the experience for me. I always look at someone's profile first and then decide to either stay and draw the character or move on when something makes me feel like it. And that's completely fine. I have the right to keep myself comfortable here. You too, you as well. If anything, the DNIs will make it easier for me to choose who to draw things for. So I don't have a clear yes or no opinion on this one. Share your own voice in the comments. Photobashing continues to be disallowed. And I want to make you aware that photobashing is not just putting some images together, it is also an art form, also used professionally for concept art, for example. And what's worse in it being disallowed is that photobashing also is a term for when you have an artwork and then you put some photo patterns or textures on it, or even royalty-free 3D assets you integrate into the style. I'm probably showing you right now like one video I found from showing exactly what I mean. I would love it if ArtFight loosened up on that too, and at least let people use royalty-free photo textures or your own photos for this purpose. Cause why the heck should we limit the creativeness? Also, I need to mention how absurd and disrespectful it is towards photographers to allow using photos not made by you for backgrounds and saying the credit is optional, while photobashing with your own images is disallowed. What? And here are the rules I'm talking about, by the way. It doesn't connect, does it? Another thing getting thrown under the bus for stars know what reason is making attacks with an OC and a canon character. A canon character, basically a character from a well-known media. This doesn't break fun only for self-shippers, but for anyone who has a fan OC that interacts with a canon character from the universe. Supposedly, it is disallowed now for copyright reasons, but then you can draw the character on a poster, or as a plushie, or as a damn body pillow. So they end up being portrayed anyway. It ends up looking like the ArtFight stuff just is against fun. Of course, submitting a Darth Maul as your character shouldn't be allowed, duh. But attacks with the OC and a canon character, is it really that problematic? They could at least make it so you don't get points for the canon characters. Pretty fair to me. At least altered versions are still allowed, so abuse it. Make a future AU or whatever out of them and go for it. I do want to end this on a brighter note, though. just because the rule changelog might be a big letdown, it doesn't mean the event this year has to be terrible. Good to have some hope. I already got my hopes up with how the community reacted to all of this. If so many people are talking about this, maybe the staff will actually consider doing something about this. Other than that, if you got stressed because of this, because yeah, reading all these negative comments with people screaming and being pretty harsh sometimes can really strain your mind. So I do encourage you to maybe take a break from ArtFight, stop reading these comments, at least for a moment. Only focus on searching for cool characters to draw, or even leave ArtFight for a moment and just do something else. So yeah, drink some tea, talk with your friends, draw something, or just watch some, I don't know, watch your favorite YouTuber. Okay, that'll be it. I'm curious how it's gonna end up, what the stuff is gonna do, honestly. I'm curious how many people are gonna participate, because I've seen some harsh opinions that some people even decided not to participate because of that.